guys had talked about suspension of disbelief a little bit earlier, and I think this is a good seg into that because I had some stuff I wanted to say about that. So, first, what does it mean, suspension of disbelief? What does that mean? Yeah.
I mean, it means that, like, when, you know, in the context of a magic show, like, you're watching a magic show and, like, you know that they're tricking you. Like, you know that the magician is, like, deceiving you and is, like, making up a story or, like, whatever. But you kind of, like, not that you don't care, but you kind of, like, put that aside in order to, like, enjoy the performance.
Okay. Yeah. So that, and that's typically what people talk about is you know, that's the essence of suspension of disbelief when it comes to magic shows. We talk about it in terms of going to the movies, right? Watching a play, musical, anything like that. So the idea, though, of the suspension of disbelief, there's a word that gets left out of it. The original phrase was willing suspension of disbelief. And that word willing really matters, and people forget about it, and some, you might have not even ever heard that before. It was originally called a willing suspension of disbelief because it has nothing to do with the performer or the movie itself. It has to do with you walking in as the audience. And the idea is you go to see a movie, you know you're about to see something fake, so you willingly suspend what you know about the real world in order to get swept up in the make-believe for a little while, in order to get into the enjoyment of the movie. And that works for movies, it works for plays, musicals, things like that. People talk about it the same way about magic shows. And my question is, it was interesting, as you described what it is, which is what you said, you choose to let it go. Is that how people approach magic shows? Is that what you were doing when I was doing magic today? Or were you letting go of reality? Really?
Because but I'm also, like, not as skeptical.
Because I think that most people, and maybe you were, and that's wonderful if you can, but I think the way most people approach magic shows is actually the opposite. They plant their feet firmly in what they know and try to see if they can figure out how the trick is being done. That's not a willing suspension of disbelief at all. That's firmly planting your feet in reality. What?
Well, I think I did that today. Like, I want to know how you did the tricks. I was watching very carefully.
Yeah.
But once you did the trick, I was still entertained and I loved it.
Well, right. And so this is what, now I wish I knew who said this. I've been talking about this for years. There's a magician, and I want to say it was Teller from Penn and Teller, but the idea is not that in magic, the suspension of disbelief is actually not, the willing suspension of disbelief is actually not what happens in magic shows for the most part. Great magic shows are an unwilling suspension of disbelief. You don't choose to believe, you have to believe. A great magic show forces you to check what you know about reality. You're not choosing to let it go, because most people walk in at the beginning, they start off trying to figure out how things work. They start off with that. Even if you're not actively trying, there's a part of you that goes, yeah, but I know that's not possible. And the idea is a great magic show takes you from there and forces you to check that reality. To go, well, I guess that's not how the world works, and sit back and then enjoy it. For me, the key in a show is to take people from where they are, which is what they know about the world, they think they know about the world, and take them to a place that I believe in, right? That where all these amazing things can happen, right? And so that's kind of my little, I don't know, soapbox about that, because I think it gets talked about in the wrong way.